Hello, welcome to the studio. I hope everybody's having a great Sunday. It is day 8. I hope I put the right title because I think I put day 7. I'm not sure. I think I did day 8, but it's day 8 of walking through our grief, navigating through our grief, talking about our grief, fussing about our grief, whatever your take is on grief, painting through our grief. Whatever it is, we want to just have a moment to where we just grieve our grief. Yeah. I'm going to wait and give it a little time. Last night, after I jumped off the live, last night I was tired because yesterday was the bazaar and I was tired. So I thought it was very cool that everybody popped on after I popped off. But I need to go back and um, comment on all the things anyway. But I'm going to be talking about some things that I'm going to be doing over on my Patreon. And I invite you to join me in my Patreon so that you'll get access to all of these fun things that I'm going to do. Because going into 2025, we're just going to switch it up and do some different things. We're still going to be over here doing FaceTime conversations, talking about grief, navigating through grief, fussing through grief, cussing through grief. However you need to communicate it, that's what we're going to do. But right now we're navigating through December because for me, December the 17th is both of my children who have passed on. It's their birthday. And over my daughter's been gone 17 years and my son has been gone 5 years. So over the years, I've pretty much despised December when it comes in. So this year I've decided to manage my grief to the point to where I'm going to do decorating on purpose. I'm going to do family things on purpose, not just show up and kind of, not really wanting to be there. So those are the things that I'm over here talking about on this channel so that you can get through and also talk about how you may feel after your grief with God. Because me personally, I was mad as hell. I didn't want to talk about it. Didn't want to talk to God. Didn't want to, my whole thing was, I can't believe you put me here again after my son was murdered. But when my daughter died, my daughter and her granddaughter died, it was just like, wait, God, what are you doing? I didn't understand. And because I had the belief system, my belief system, the way I was raised, is you don't question God. And when you learn the Bible for yourself, you learn that it's okay to ask questions. That don't mean you're going to get answers, but I do know, I can tell you that God will comfort you and he will give you, what is it? He'll give you calmness and he'll give you understanding. Now, will it be your answer that you want? Possibly not, but even in life, it kind of don't work out that way. That's the way it is. All right, let me see. What is that? I don't know where my chat box is. Don't know. Let's see if we close this. Is it on the screen anywhere? I got a lot of stuff open, so let's close this. I don't know where my chat box is. Well, do. Welcome to the studio. I see that there are people here, but if you say anything, I need to find my chat box. And I don't know why my chat box is closed. That's not what I want. Remember, we're over here experimenting. Every day is an experiment. You don't always get it right. So sometimes you have to show up just the way you are. And that's what I'm doing today, showing up just the way I am. Let's see, where is the chat box? So, what's that? I have to wait for it to come. No, what's that? No. Well, golly gee, Sergeant Carter. All right, let's go over here. No. No. Oh, let's learn something new. That's where that is. Oh, okay. Learning something new as I'm looking for the chat box. Because it's usually right here. Like, I don't remember ever moving it. And I had to shut down because I had to do, what do you call that thing? An update. updates came. So I had to figure out, had to do some updates. So let me go over here and look for a chat box. But today is day 8. We're going to be talking about, I can't remember. I have a whole thing. Listen, hold on. Let me focus on one thing. Let me look for a chat box. That's not it. Mic, nope. Overlays. Oh, it should be right there. Recently added. Hmm. Hmm. Let me tell y'all something. You too can learn something new. But when you do, remember. So after today, I'm going to learn something new. But I'm not seeing my chat box. And picture in a picture, nope. Transition, nope. Nope, nope. I want the chat box. Nope, 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 nope. Well, you know there's this button up here and it says help. So, but then the other thing is if I push the help button, let's see, chat box. Chat. I didn't want to. Oh, is that where it said? What is that in? Oh, see? Push the help button, y'all. It'll give you what you need. Okay, so if you have put something in the chat box, I didn't get it. So if you have anything that you have said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever. Hello, welcome to the studio, and I do apologize because the chat box wasn't there, but it's there now. I got it, and at least you know what? I learned something. I learned where the chat box, where to find it at. And did. And I also learned to ask for help. It might have been me asking my computer for help, but I asked for help. Sometimes that, excuse me, hard to do. All right. So we're on week 2. Week 2. So week 2 I kind of had things when I went back after, remember I told y'all I came in off a high of finishing my book. I got some notes back from my editor. And so I have some things that I have to do the title, got to decide what the cover wants to look like. Because everything else is pretty much on point. It's come together perfectly. But week 1, we talked about the foundations of grieving, and we talked about. I think we're going to kind of stick tonight. Today is Sunday. We're going into week 2, and we're going to talk about honoring your loved ones. And being that I'm the type person that I have a whole studio centered around what I do, right? And that way it's one of those things to where I create. And I'm going to do what, oh yeah, we're definitely over 5 minutes. Usually I wait 5 minutes to go on this time, but I didn't want to. I had to have my phone on charger. So let's put this over here because we're going to talk about honoring your loved one, creating things. And remember, I'm going to do some things over in my Patreon that I'm going to teach. Not necessarily just mothers who have lost children, but people who are grieving, like maybe their mothers, their fathers, or what have you. And that way, I want to teach people how I do what I do and how I navigate through my grief, right? So remember, I told you grief is anything that makes you cry, anything that makes your heart hurt, that makes you cry. That's what grief is. And in my Patreon, and I believe I forgot to put it in this video, but usually the link is below. But it's in my description up if you want to join the Patreon. Because going into 2025, it's going to be more processing in the Patreon, and not so much as I'm teaching you. I just want you to tell me what you want to learn, so that way I can kind of help you get through it. I can tell you what I do. For me, I like doing things. I like painting. I like making junk journals. I like doing books and incorporating my children in it. As a matter of fact, let me get this book. Because this book we made in August. No, we made it in October because it was coming up on the anniversary. Well, no, it was August in October, which is both the anniversaries of both of my children's death. August, Tanika and Alyssa died, and October Joshua was murdered. So I did. Let's go over to the desk and see what's going on the desk. Oh, it ain't come. Oh, there we go. I was gonna say it ain't woke up yet. Paint. See, literally did this probably in like 50 minutes. And I got some butterflies. Y'all, the dollar store is my friend. And I'm going to probably put some butterflies on there. But these are the kind of things. I know I'm going to put some on the bags. So this over in Patreon, we're going to do some things. I'll talk about that in a minute. But this is when I'm talking about loved ones, when I'm talking about, um, there we go. When I talk about creating, honoring your loved ones. This is what I mean. We want to create memories during the holidays, right? Ideas. You want to come up with some ideas that honor your loved one in a meaningful way. That when I say meaningful, it's meaningful to you. And you want to share stories and memories. The power of storytelling in how it keeps the person alive in your heart. This book I did, like I said, I did it on YouTube. We did 30 days of, I forgot what it was, but I think it's 30 days of, it's pretty much making sure I didn't lose my couth coming up on the anniversary of my son's murder. And creating this book. So here's the book. It's just a junk journal, like in all the things. This is made out of paper. What do you call it? Craft paper, right? And this is how I included my children in the grieving process as far as me myself, is I added them in. Now you can do this in if you have children, you can do this including your children. I have grown children, so I would have did this with my children if they weren't grown. But so this is, oh, this is, I feel like it's just not showing all of the book. Okay. So it's a junk journal. And when I call it a junk journal, that means it's everything that you can put in here, and it's pretty much nothing. This is watercolor paper. Like I've already done some things. Put the bird fly high because my son was always like fly high. Um, the front, the good life. And you want to do, so you can make something as simple as this. And so in my Patreon group, when I do work with people, I do teach them, like, if they want, like, so say if you join my Patreon and you just like, well, I want to do that. I want to learn how to make one of these. Then we'll do that in the Patreon. Um, Over here, like I said, I did it on YouTube, but I think I've made that part, those 30 days, private now, because it's something that I walked through personally for me. It was for me to hang out, start the YouTube channel, and let people know that you can create some happy memories even though you're feeling like crap. And so that's my granddaughter when she was probably like 9 months old. Um, and then we got little, everything I created, we got little pockets. You can put love notes in there. And so I'm just kind of going to flip through this real fast because it's all the things. Watercolor paper. And that's her when she was 3. Oh, the puppies are crying, y'all. Look, I put stitched it. And that was Joshua and the twins. This was something I got out of one of them Tim Holtz things. But you can put anything you want on it. Like Joshua in the football game. He went to University of South Florida. This was Christmas in Colorado. Just all the things, all the pictures I had. That's him and Maya in the pool. And this one, just little pictures because I have this little printer, so I printed it out. But you can do this. That's my oldest daughter. That was Tanika. And then that's Alyssa. And see how it did all the things? It just turns out so pretty. So my point of showing this to you is like if you're going through the holidays and you're just like, I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. And you're just trying to figure out ways. You might not want to do all of this because this might not be your jam. But what I am telling you to do, not telling you, recommending that in order to not be so stressed out about the holidays, is find something that will give you a glimpse of hope, right? That's Joshua and Tanika. Tanika was born, so Joshua was born on Tanika's birthday, 7 years. She turned 7. And then both, like I say, both of their birthdays is December 17th. So me for December, to keep my sanity, that's what I do is I'm getting on here going through how I'm feeling. And then I figure if I'm feeling this way, somebody that's lost a child could be feeling this way. Or someone who's trying to get through grief because they've lost a mother or a brother or sister, whatever. Grief is grief, right? Y'all, this was our last time at Breckenridge. These are my flowers, and I cut a hole in it and stuck our picture in there. And just all the pictures, anything I could have found or printed out, I just just stuck it in the book. So that way, when I walk through this book, it reminds me of him, and it sometimes maybe make me cry, and but mostly some of the pictures I got in here, they make me smile. And that's what I'm saying is find things that bring joy to your heart that were from that you got pictures, go to photo albums. Like now they have phones. Nobody has photo albums anymore unless you're in the crafting world and you create. But this is something that you would want to create memories and then you flip through and you get to have them. More watercolor paper, all the things. And on here, I did all the flowers and put all my children's name on each flower and the bees. Same thing here. And more watercolor paper if I choose to want to do whatever. I'm thankful. I am thankful for his life. I'm thankful for the time that God did give me with him. His legacy will forever live on in his 3 children. More so his twin, his Maya. This one was Arizona when he was at Arizona Western, and we had a great day that day because they won University of South Florida when they played Florida State. So we went up because I came from Germany for that game. She was a doll. So yeah, see how you can just get pictures, and even if you have pictures on your phone, and even you want to make a little book, you can do something simple. All I'm saying is make sure you do something that makes your heart feel better, because just like not really wanting to walk through the holidays, it's a real thing. Like normally, I just go into I'll be ready. I'm ready for January the 5th to come. This one turned out real pretty. Um, because I want to get through the holidays. You know, life without my children just have made me sad. And then somewhere along the line, I was like, you have to get it together because you still have other children, you have grandchildren, and so I had to figure out a way to just start getting up again and living again and breathing again. Oh, this is where this book is. I was looking for this because I wanted to make some of these recipes in here for Thanksgiving, and I couldn't find the book. I think this came out of Southern Living. Oh, no, this is Magnolia Journal Recipe Collection. So that's that. Love that. And then hope. Hope is my thing. Peace, hope, and joy. That's what I want. I want peace on my grief journey. I have hope that things are going to be great and better, continuing to walk. Is it going to be gone? No, it won't be completely gone. But I have hope that I will have much joy and I'll be okay. That's how, and creating things makes me feel better. And we got a little charm that hangs on here that I got from Hobby Lobby and just hung it on there. But this is it. So I can go in here right now and literally draw, paint, continue, stick some more stuff in here and make it even more chunkier. But it's already chunky, so it's a nice little size. That is one way that you can do it. The other way is I'm going to teach over in my Patreon. We're going to teach a regular old picture frame that you can get from a dollar store. This comes from a dollar store. This comes from the dollar store. These came from the dollar store. And this came from the dollar store. And when I teach you the things that I'm going to do with these, we're going to paint, like we're going to paint something on here. We're going to create on here, on the glass, and we're going to create on the bags. You just slap some paint on the bags or draw on the bags. Or the other thing you can do is you can take some pictures and put on the bags, right? You don't have to have an art degree. All you have to do is have a willing heart to want to do something different. Because if you're like me, after my daughter's death, I cried, I cried, I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and nothing changed. And I eventually got up and I put on the mask and made it seem like everything was okay, but I still was angry. I still was upset. I still wanted to just try to figure out what was going on. And it was okay. So then when my son was murdered, I just didn't understand. I couldn't believe I was here again, right? So there's some more there. Then I think I showed these yesterday. I'm not sure. Not sure. I feel like I have. Like the ones that I have some more that's in the room. So I'm doing at least 5 of these a night. Oh yeah, you know what they are. They're in the room. This is my favorite. And I take them and I put them in picture frames. Now this is another thing. So we're going to learn like whatever you create, whatever comes out of your mind, whatever comes out and you want to put it maybe in a frame and paint around, whatever you choose to do. Over in the Patreon, that's what we're going to do. So this, I created a video in my Patreon to how I did this, how I did this, how I did this, and forgive the light in there. And these books that I sold at the bazaar, we learn how to do these. We learn how to do these and these. These are little books. So these are art journals that I think this one has. Yes, this is watercolor paper. So all of them either have watercolor paper or what is it? Watercolor paper or sketch paper. I think this. Oh wait, I maybe sold the one that had sketch. So I sold 4 of them at the bazaar yesterday. Yeah, these I sold the one that had the sketch. These are watercolor. So all these are watercolor. This one is pretty thick. I had fun doing these. I'm probably going to make a couple of more because going into January we're going to be at bazaars a lot, craft shows, selling our product and talking to people about how to recover from grief. This one is regular paper, and so this doesn't have that many signatures in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And it's watercolor paper, or you can take markers. You can do whatever you want with it. But this one is what I call my traveler's notebook. And traveler's notebooks are a little slender, skinny one, but this is travel size, so it's handheld size. You can get this and get your little pencil, put it in your purse or put it in your, whatever your bag you're traveling in and create in it. Like I like little ones. Remember I had got these little ones from, I think, yeah, Temu, but I like for them to be compact so that you can travel with them. Talia got me thinking about them in a smaller way. I never thought about it in a smaller way until like she would show the littlest of things, and I was just like, never thought about doing that. But now I like the smaller, and then I make these. This cover literally comes off of my watercolor pads when I'm done with my watercolor pads. So that's that. And that's just it. So that's what we do over in my Patreon is learn. I give you more in-depthness. Like over here, I'm surface really on the YouTube channel. But when you're in my Patreon, you get a little bit more. So we're also going to be doing decoupage. Decoupage is when you take this napkin. I think I got another layer to pull off of here. But when you do decoupage, and that's something I did learn in Confident Canvases Zoom when we all started back during COVID when we were online. And I love to decoupage. I just don't do it enough. Now, here are several ideas that I've given you. Like, if you don't even come and join me in my Patreon, it doesn't matter. All I want you to do, today's conversation is I want you to honor your loved ones, right? I want you to find something that creates the memories during the holidays and it gives you something to aspire to do each year coming up. So that way, it's for me, I don't feel like, oh my God, I despise Christmas. It's coming again. I don't want to do it. So therefore, I have something every year for the last 2 years I've been doing, and it makes me feel better. It doesn't, now, do I despise Christmas when it comes up? Not so much, but it does still make my heart hurt a little because again, my two December babies are not here, and that's the part that makes me sad. So I would just like for you to create memories, either creating something, doing something different, have new traditions. Like there's so many things you can do. And if you having problems deciding what to do, that's why I created this space to kind of share what I do. And that's it. That's it in a nutshell. And to let you know what? You're not alone on this journey. Like those are so pretty. So pretty. All right, let's put these over here, and that is it. Oh, and I remember I told y'all we have our faith planner that we're going to go into 2025 with a brand new faith planner that we will have. Um, my faith planner I pretty much use for bullet points of how I'm feeling throughout the day. So it's not one of those things that I use per se, put the dates in here and I got to go through over here and be like, oh, we doing this today. Not that kind of faith planner. In January of 2025, Sarah and I, my cousin Sarah, which is Chef Sarah, will start doing kind of like Bible study things, not per se Bible study, but we're going to be talking about Bible principles and what does God say about this, that, and the third, right? And so I remember, like I was talking about God principles, God and death principles. And the main thing that I wanted people to understand is that life is for such a time. We're born and we'll die. In Ecclesiastes, it tells us there's a time for all things. All right, I'm going to go back off of the desk because we're done with that. We're done with desk time. So come back FaceTime. And let's move this back over there. And that's what I want you to understand, that we feel some type of way. And me as a mother have lost two children and a granddaughter. And my father. My dad's birthday is December the 18th. So I go into December full fledged. But my point of all of this is to challenge you to not let the grief take you down, because it can overwhelm you. Right now my grief has my A1C like stagnant. It's like that's the stressor that's in my life, and I've learned that I need to control it so it doesn't control me. Now, what is it in your life that's controlling you? Ask yourself that question. What do you want from your grief journey? What do you want from your life, period? Like, this isn't even, if you're not someone, if you happen to be watching this and you're watching the replay and you're like, well, I haven't lost anyone. These same principles that I talk about, they are for life as well. If you have something that's going on, you have friendships, you have relationships, you have marriages, you have whatever it may be that might be giving you a challenge. And you might be asking yourself, what is it? Like, how do I have more faith so that I can navigate through these waters? How do I have peace, hope, and joy so that I feel better about X, Y, and Z? Right? And so the thing that I like to talk about more so is letting you know that you're not alone in your grief, right? There's hope. Even though we lose people, people die. God told us when Adam and Eve messed up in the garden that there will be death. There will be death. And we know it's coming. But how many of you really, 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 really have been taught about death? Like, do you know what grief is? Do you know the 5 stages of grief? Like the I say there's 7 stages of grief because shock and awe needs to be put in there, right? So when you look at it, you like, how can I work through this? Right? And then it's one of the things you can do it and have grace. Like you can do it and ask God, how is it, are you supposed to get through this? Like you can do it and like ask God, why the hell he put me here? Like you can be honest with yourself, right? Please do. Don't, that's the one thing. Like yesterday, what did I talk about yesterday? Oh, yesterday is the power of no. Yesterday was the power of no. It's okay to say no on your journey. You don't want to overwhelm yourself with all of the things, you can say no and it be okay, right? But when you think about the 7 stages of, oh goodness, I feel like I got something in mind. The 7 stages of grief, like, oh, sorry. The stages aren't always experienced. Like this is what I learned after my daughter died, right? I learned that they tell you about these stages, right? In the beginning, it was 5 stages, and they said you're gonna kind of go through these stages, right? And I learned that you don't go through these stages in order. Like I was angry, and I think well, yeah, I was angry. I was angry because my daughter had committed suicide. I was angry because I couldn't save her. I was angry because there was nothing I could do. I was angry because this was my life now. And then after the anger, I think I was embarrassed because I was like, suicide, we don't commit suicide. Like, I don't understand. But what it was, I was in more shock and denial than anger, right? So what happens is the initial reaction to the loss is shock, like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, right? And people sometimes feel numb, or they have this thing where you kind of, this is where it was. I remember talking to my bishop on the phone, and he said everything's going to be all right. I'll call you when I get finished preaching. And I was like, oh, everything's going to be all right. It was shock, and it was in so much disbelief till I heard him say all right, and I was like, it's going to be all right, it's all right, right? But I was confused, I was in disbelief, um and I didn't believe that this was happening to me. So shock and denial, just didn't want to accept it. And then I put on this little fakeness about it. It was like, okay, I got to put on my good church girl. I got to show up for God and be all the things, right? So that took me into guilt, right? Like I kind of was in pain. I felt the pain, but I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to articulate how I was feeling. All I knew was I'm a Christian, and I was told that I needed to put on my big girl panties and walk through this and show up great for God. Yeah, that's what somebody actually told me. And I personally didn't care about any of the things. I stood at the crossroad at this point and was like, what, God? You want me to show up and this is what happened? But how many of you know that God is in all things? Like God gives you the power. God is the power, has the power to give life, and he has the power to take away life. So did God care that I was angry? Did God care that I was mad? Absolutely. And God sent people in my way to help console me, help to talk to me. And here's the one thing that I want to be for you that some people were for me. They let me be honest. They let me be me. They didn't judge me because I said, I don't want to talk. I don't want to pray. They didn't tell me I was going to die and go to hell because I didn't want to talk about a thing, right? That's what you need. So here, I'm a support system over here on this, the whole channel that we do. All of the things. I'm multifaceted. I'm a counselor. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm an artist. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I'm a grandma. But out of all of those things, I want you to see me and know that I am going to be very, very real, very transparent, and I'm going to tell you how I've gone through this thing, not how somebody else has done. I've lost 2 children, and I've lost my dad, and I've lost people that are very close to me. So when I'm talking to you from a grief standpoint, and when I tell you I'm in the studio and I don't want to do it and I'm mad, then that's the anger, and then the God, if you get me through this part, the bargaining, because you'll do that as well. Like you'll be like, Lord, if you just make me feel better today, then maybe tomorrow I'll do this or I'll do that. That's where you start bargaining through your anger, and that often emerges as you just feel like what's happened to you was unfair, and that's what I felt. I bargained with God because I just really didn't want this to have happened. I really wanted to wake up and this was a nightmare, but that wasn't so. And the next one is you have depression and reflection. So the depression, you can go down a slippery slope. Now, is it okay to be in the bed and cry and all the things? It is. But do you get up? Do you eat? Do you walk? Do you do other things? Or are you constantly in the bed and you can't get up and it's been months and months and months? You've lost weight or either you gain weight, whichever one, because some people are, they eat and I was the opposite. I didn't eat. So you feel like you're hopeless, like you're lonely, you're overwhelmed. That's when you kind of start getting on that slippery slope going down depression. And I suggest that, people need to get a counselor. As the old folks would say, well, you need to pray harder. And I'm going to tell you, prayer, faith without works is dead. You can pray all day long, but I do believe that there are people that can help you navigate through the depression and get you a Christian counselor so that you can pray through it. I'm not saying we don't pray, but it pissed me off when somebody said that as a counselor, counselors just take people money. All they need to do is pray harder. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. I get where they're coming from. Faith without works is dead. Remember that. Faith without works is dead. And number 5 is the upward turn, right? Time passes and your emotions become lesser and lesser. Like you don't cry every day. You maybe cry out of 7 days, you maybe cry 2 days, right? But then life slowly starts to feel manageable again. That's the upward turn. But then I want you to know that somewhere on the upward turn, it's 5 years after my son's death. This has been the hardest year. So 5 years later, the upward turn, I did have upward, but then sometimes you drop and then you have to go back up again. And then sometimes you might drop a little bit more and you go up again. But the thing is, keep showing up, and then you keep going up. It works, reconstruction and working through it. Sometimes individuals just find out they reevaluate their life, start over. That's what I didn't start my life over, but 2 years after my son died in 2019, I packed up and moved in 17 days in 2021. Now, this didn't happen because my son died. I wanted to move before he died, but once my husband got on board, then we did it. So it's one of those things you find yourself problem solving. How and what does that look like? What does tomorrow look like? So I teach on the 3 R's: rediscover, reclaim, and renew your joy, right? That's a whole nother thing outside of my Patreon. It's like, what does tomorrow look like to you? What is your hope for next year? Because the answer to that question for most parents is, or if you've lost a husband, a wife, mother, the one thing you want is you want that person back. But we can't get that person back, right? So we have to accept that and have hope for tomorrow. And once you get to that point, then you're usually going to be okay. Usually you can navigate the triggers, because if you go in the grocery store and you smell someone that smells like your son, or you go in the store and somebody smells like my daughter, and it's just like, I literally get choked up and I'd be like, oh Lord, let me get out of this store, because I don't want to lose my couth in the store. And then, that's one of my worst things, is losing myself in public. So the first year after your loved one, that's hard. And I tell people it's been 17 years since my daughter and my granddaughter, and it's still hard. Some years are harder than others. This year, like I said, for my son, is the hard. It's been harder this year because of a lot of things happened in this year, and I really had to just kind of grab life by the horns and say I'm on it for the ride. And sometimes that's what you have to do as well. So I want you to think about, grief is deeply personal. It's individualized. How I grieve may not be how you grieve. How I grieve isn't how my husband grieves. How I grieve isn't how one daughter grieves, or how you grieve may not. It's totally individualized. People will move through each one of the stages that I just gave you, fast, slow, or stuck in anger for a long time. It depends on how it happened, how tragic it is. I'm still a little angry, but I know I'm working on forgiveness, because I have to forgive the people that took my son's life. I have to forgive the people that are inadvertently involved in my son's life. I have to forgive. So that, for me, I toggle back between acceptance and anger, acceptance and anger. And I know that now. So therefore, when it's happening, I usually get in the studio and I create and pray about it and fuss about it and cuss about it and keep it moving, right? But each person's journey is different, and it depends on the relationship, the support system. You need a support system, and the spiritual perspective. Remember, I was talking about it from God's standpoint. God and biblical, it's God and death are, they go together. So you can't have death without saying God, because God is the giver of life and death, right? That's just it. And your faith perspective, it could be integrating Bible, like I said, prayers, do join Bible studies, grief support systems. That, what is the one? There's one, I'm going to link it below. They're very good. You can find them, and most of the time they're in churches, and that way you can kind of walk through it with your faith, whatever that may be, and find comfort in the word. Excuse me, because if it wasn't for the word, I would probably sometime be like off my couth. So understanding these stages, it can really help you grieve better. When you understand, when you're going through these things, it's like, oh wait, that I've heard about that. That may be maybe that, right? That's what it was, and it opened up for me. For me, it was hard to find someone that looked like me, that could accept me and not judge me. That was what very important for me on my grief journey. And even now, if people feel like they want to judge me now, I don't care. But what I do care about is I need to have a safe space so that I can talk about how I am and how things are, right? And I need someone that has compassion and patience. So I am everything that I want to be, and then that lets me be everything that I need to be for the people that I serve. I'm not for everybody, right? But for the people that I am called for, those are the people that hear me, resonate with me, and they don't mind me saying I'm angry with God today. They don't mind me saying, well, I didn't feel like praying today. They don't judge. But they're the people that the Bible told them is going to heaven and always been saved their whole life. Those are not the people that are for me, because all they want to do is tell me to pray, 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 pray. And when I'm not walking in the spirit, I'm walking in the flesh, and the flesh don't want to pray. The flesh wants to just throw some paint on some paper, or throw something up against the wall, or go dig a hole. And then we praying as we're going through. But you have to have an outlet. That's all I'm saying. So over here, I would love, 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 love for you again to join me. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to my channel. And, if grief is the thing that you're trying to navigate through the holidays, or just through your life, period. Maybe the holidays doesn't bother you. And you're just trying to navigate through life, period. Like, you maybe scroll through and found my channel, and maybe loss is new to you, right? You've had a loss this year. You've had a loss 2 weeks ago. You had a loss 3 months ago. Losing a loved one can feel overwhelming. That's all I'm saying. And I am here to help you live with hope after the loss of a loved one, right? And in 2025, that's where I say we're going to do biblical encouragement for life and for grief, but we explore biblical truths about God's presence in our pain, because God is in it. He is right there in it. And the promises that He has for us, so that we can find um, peace, hope, and joy. Because the answer for renewed sense of hope is to always go back and lean on God. All right, guys, I'm going to get off of here, because I'm going to hang out with the puppies, because that's where we are. And I'm going to probably do a live tomorrow with the puppies, because I haven't had the puppies on here in a minute, and the puppies, they don't even fit in the palm of my hands anymore. I want to leave you with this. I want you to really answer the question if this resonates with you. And I would love for you to leave a comment below. Not only when grief slaps the hell out of you, and life just shows up and is continuing to serve, and you got people that are around you that are just full of it, and you know what they're full of, because your journey is not their journey, right? And you need to step outside of all of the stuff. Tell me, how do you do that? Give me something that you do. And then the other thing, the two-part question is, what would you like to see me either talk about or kind of do over here, that if I can do it on the channel, to help you get through whatever it is you may be struggling through in life. Right now, my thing is helping people navigate through grief. right? And to get them back to the place of joy. See that joy right there? I got joy everywhere in the studio. Why? Because that's what I want. Happiness is what it is, but joy is the thing that really, 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 really makes me feel amazing. Joy is everything to me. And it's the joy that helps me get through the storms. Um, Joy helps me to navigate through the heavy stuff even when I don't want to, right? Joy is the warmth of a memory that brings light to heart when I think about my children, right? Joy is even when I'm alone, I still have joy. So, what is it that brings you to a place what is it that you need for yourself that you want help getting there? Or you want to like get back to a place where you can at least see some hint of who you are, because you'll never be that person that you was the day before you got the phone call. My son, when I got the phone call that night, that was on a Friday, that Thursday, I would never be that person. Thursday, I would never be that person. Friday morning before I got that phone call, I would never be that person again, ever. Because why? Life has happened. I've taken a big, big hit, and now I need to ask God, who am I now? What would you have me to do? Because here it is, you know, woke me up again. You got me woke. You didn't take me out in my sleep. So God, what is it that you would have me to do? So I would love to be here to serve you from the place of what you need, because at the end of the day, I'm working through mine and I can help you work through yours. But share with me, what is it that you need? If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button and that bell notification so when I do go live, you'll get notified from all the videos, because right now I just don't have a time. Lately, it's been kind of between 5 and 7, and I don't know if that's because the puppies are settled down, I'm settled down from the day, I'm not sure. However, help a sister out. Let me know how I can help you, because I'm not on this journey by myself. I don't want you to be on this journey by yourself. I want you to take care of you. Why? Because we can't pour from empty cups. Have a good one. Love you guys.